Both President Trump and Israel have dismissed a report on the Politico website that Israel was spying on the U.S. The report accused Israel of planting cell phone surveillance devices that were found near the White House and other sensitive locations around Washington.
I don't believe that. No, I don't think the Israelis were spying on us. I really would find that hard to believe. My relationship with Israel has been great.
I have a direct. No intelligence collection in the United States, no spying, and it's rigorously enforced without any exception.
The report comes just days before Israelis vote in national elections, which some have called a referendum on Netanyahu. Netanyahu often highlights his close ties with Trump. Just a week before Israeli elections, Netanyahu pressed forward in his battle against Iran's nuclear development with a new revelation. Prime Minister Netanyahu revealed what he called a second Iranian atomic warehouse at a press conference in Jerusalem.
Today we reveal that yet another secret nuclear site was exposed in the archives that we brought from Tehran. In this site, Iran conducted experiments to develop nuclear weapons. This is the site near Abadeh, south of Isfahan. When Iran realized that we uncovered this site, here's what they did. They destroyed the site.
Netanyahu pointed to before and after pictures and said Iran tried to destroy the evidence after they knew Israel was on to them.
This is what I have to say to the tyrants of Tehran. Israel knows what you're doing, Israel knows when you're doing it, and Israel knows where you're doing it. We will continue to expose your lies. What we see is a consistent pattern of Iranian lies, deception, and violations.
Last year, Netanyahu revealed that Israel's Mossad had discovered and smuggled back to Israel an Iranian nuclear archive. Later at the UN, he also exposed what he called a secret atomic warehouse located in a Tehran neighborhood.
I call on the international community to wake up, to realize that Iran is systematically lying. And I call on the international community to join President Trump's sanctions to exert more pressure on Iran. The only way to stop Iran's march to the bomb and its aggression in the region is pressure, pressure, and more pressure.
Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif denied the accusation and accused Netanyahu of trying to start a war. He tweeted, "The possessor of real nukes cries wolf on an alleged demolished site in Iran." The revelation comes at a time of heightened tensions between Iran and the international community over its nuclear program. The International Atomic Energy Agency announced earlier this week that it had found traces of uranium at the first atomic warehouse that Netanyahu identified last year. It also comes as campaigning intensifies ahead of Israel's elections. Netanyahu's critics say he's using national security to campaign, but it's clear that whoever Israel's next prime minister will be, he'll have to deal with the growing threat of Iran. The day after his Iranian revelation, Netanyahu riled the United Nations, Arab League, and others with a campaign pledge to annex part of biblical Judea and Samaria. The move comes ahead of the rollout of President Trump's peace plan. In a campaign speech to his Likud party, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu promised to annex the Jordan Valley and the northern part of the Dead Sea.
Today, I'm announcing my intention to apply with the formation of the next government, Israeli sovereignty on the Jordan Valley and northern Dead Sea.
The Palestinian Authority considers this area to be part of the West Bank, where it wants to establish a future state. Netanyahu also has plans for Israeli communities throughout the rest of Judea and Samaria.
This is a historic opportunity, a one-time opportunity to extend Israeli sovereignty on our settlements in Judea and Samaria, and also on other important regions for our security, for our heritage, and for our future.
President Trump is expected to roll out his Israeli-Palestinian deal of the century after the elections.
Out of respect for President Trump and out of great trust in our friendship, I will wait to impose Israeli sovereignty over all the settlements until after the presentation of the president's diplomatic plan.
The United Nations said unilateral actions would not be helpful to the peace process.
Such a prospect would be devastating to the potential of reviving negotiations, regional peace, and the very essence of a two-state solution.
Saudi Arabia condemned the move as a serious escalation, and the Arab League held an emergency meeting.
The Council is considering this announcement a serious development and a new Israeli aggression through its intention to violate international law, the UN Charter, and the concerned resolutions of the international legitimacy.
During his speech, security guards whisked Netanyahu out of the room after sirens sounded when terrorists in Gaza launched 2 rockets at Ashkelon and Ashdod, where he was speaking. Netanyahu later returned to finish his speech. Meanwhile, Israelis have a few more days to decide which one of the more than 30 political parties they'll vote for.
I'm not sure yet about which I'm going to decide, but for now it seems like I'm going to go with blue and white.
Only Bibi. We have a saying here. Only Bibi.
Polls show that the Likud and the Blue and White Party of Benny Gantz are virtually tied for first place. Following the election, the hard part begins when the winner works to pull together parties to form a coalition government.
Alpha Omega.